Good evening, everyone. John Henry Soto here. Welcome to the JHS show. I want to thank you all for taking some time out of your schedules just to spend time with me. If you're here, I really appreciate you so much. Thank you for being here. Tonight's show is going to be very interesting because it's going to be about this, what I'm doing right now. It's about live streaming. We're going to be talking about live streaming in 2020 and beyond. We're also going to be diving into the mindset as well as what I do, the successful actions that I've taken in the last since 2013 when I started, that has worked for me, and things that didn't work, and I'm going to give that as well. So that's going to be a very exciting thing for me to do because I love doing that. I love helping people, and I want people to actually get out there and do this. So let's get started. I got a lot to cover today. Today's show is going to be a little bit different. We're going to have two parts. First part is going to be, we're going to talk about live streaming in 2020 and beyond. And then the second part, we're going to be talking about the what I do and my successful action. So it's going to be a little bit of a two-part, but it's all going to tie in beautifully, and you're going to love it. This is going to be a great episode that you're going to be able to send to people and say, hey, have you been thinking of live streaming? You got to watch this episode because there's a lot of good information there. And I hope that this really is of value to you, and that you utilize it, because I think it's important, and it is definitely the future. It's not even the future. It's now. It's happening right now, and I'm going to show you in a minute. Okay. Man, I talk fast. All right. So the first thing I want to actually talk about is streaming, right? What is streaming, right? Streaming has been around not that long, right? I mean, it really has not been that long. We can't say over 10 years, right? We can't say that. It just hasn't been consistently over 10 years for that long. It's gotten very strong now in the last 5 to 6 years, maybe. But right now is sort of like the moment when things are really starting to heat up in the space, and people are really starting to get in there. Can't love thy neighbor. Can't love. That's all right. No worries. Somebody said can't love thy neighbor. So my episode is called Love Thy Neighbor, which for me, I just thought was a good thing, because this is basically how this information is really for all of us to really come together and to be able to provide part of our own experiences and part of our own passions to other people that I know will be a benefit to others. And that's why I called it that, Love Thy Neighbor, because I do love thy neighbor. Adam says a very live topic for me. Very good. Thank you, Adam, for stopping by. And Jay Jones, I don't know Jay Jones 90, but can't love thy neighbor. That's okay. You know, we all got our ways of living our lives. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing I wanted to talk about, and which is really the most important thing of everything that we're doing right now, because live streaming is started. Well, first I was talking about live streaming, right? So it's fairly new. Live streaming is the ability to, you're at the moment on a platform, right? It's at the moment, you're live, you're being seen. Everything that happens at that moment is being seen by whoever is viewing your content, right? And that's as live as you can get in from these platforms, basically in 2020, right? Especially now with everyone being at home a lot, this is a perfect opportunity for you to study up and realize that the future is going to be this, because if anything, what the last 6 to 7 months have taught us is that this is more important now. It's connected our students with our teachers. It's connected jobs. It actually started businesses. Businesses have actually realized that the fact that they can actually communicate this way is going to save them money in the long run, because they're going to be able to work from home a lot of times, shorten the hours of work, as well as the space that you need. You know, you don't need a tremendous amount of space in today to really operate. You can really operate in a small space, computer, a good Wi-Fi, and you're pretty much good to go. So a lot of it has really come to light in the last 6 to 7 months. And I thought this would be a perfect opportunity for me to kind of talk to people and show them what exactly I've been working on and what I've been studying. And the last, since 2013, when I really started, I think it was a little bit earlier, I kind of like was dabbling, but 2013, I kind of made a conscious decision to kind of really jump into social media and trying to figure out certain things. And I did pretty good in some places I didn't. There was a lot of hit and miss. I did a lot of webinars I paid for, didn't get any value. I did some webinars that were completely free and got a tremendous amount of value. So you really, I wasted a lot of time. So I'm here to like not waste your time, so you can actually have a valuable, valuable tools that you can start off with. First thing we're going to talk about is mindset. The mindset really is the most important thing that you can have when you're live streaming, because if you don't have the right mindset, if you're not doing it for the right reasons, if you're not taking it seriously, all these things are really important, because people will be able to tell. We're living in an age where a lot of video content can be read into right now, right? And that can be good, that can be bad, but facts are facts, right? The truth is, when you're on a video and you're saying something, you said it, right? And your mindset on what it is that you're gonna say, if your mindset is already pretty well established, you're kind of like you're open to ideas and suggestions, you're willing to explore, you're willing to give good content, you want to actually help people. If you have all this already, then going live is going to be a piece of cake for you. It's going to be so smooth. It's going to be great. You don't have to talk as fast as I'm talking either. It's just this is just the way I talk. But you don't have to do that. On the other hand, if you're a little bit stubborn, if you've set in your ways, the old dog doesn't want to learn new tricks kind of a deal. If that's you, then you are going to have a little bit of difficulty, because this is all new. This is all new. Every day that I wake up and I turn on, whatever software or whatever company or platform has new changes. Every day it's something new. There's a new app coming up. There's a new, or the old apps have changed. Facebook, right there. Facebook, how many times have they changed their platforms, right? And Instagram and YouTube and all of these platforms, they've just very quickly have changed their platform. So you have to kind of always be willing to change, be willing to accept that not everything is going to be the way you like it, and that's okay. You just have to kind of adapt. They're not your platforms. You didn't develop them, right? We're borrowing these apps for our benefit, right? And so we have to respect the companies that put these apps together, because they spend a lot of money, millions and millions of dollars, some of them, most of them actually, the large ones, millions of dollars to put them together and to operate them. And it takes a lot of time to really operate these things. Offers nonprofit free workshops in coordination council, which covers streaming and many aspects. Oh, that's great. Great. So right here, it says NJCU offers nonprofits free workshops in coordination with their art council, which also covers streaming and many other aspects of available resources. That is fantastic. Thank you so much, Tom. I really appreciate you adding that value to our audience. Very, very important. Think about it. NJCU now is offering this and talking about streaming. So it's in the schools. Our kids are going to know it. And it's important that us older guys really jump on board. Of course, this is for everybody, not just for older guys, right? So the mindset is really important. You have to have that right mindset. You have to want to do it. You have to also understand that it is work. You know what I mean? It is work. We're gone from the time. This is not long ago, 5-6 years ago, where a boss of a company would say, well, I'm just going to hire a high school kid to do my social media, right? That was their solution. Just hire a high school kid to handle their social media. And that worked for about 6 months, and then they realized, oh, this is actually valuable. This is actually can get us stuff, right? And of course, Facebook at that point was very cost effective, right? The organic reach was tremendous. It was just a really nice time. I built a big audience on Facebook because it was just a great time to be there. But Facebook got a wind of it, and they figured out how to monetize it even more. And they created a lot of different opportunities. Now they have a great marketing. Facebook is a marketing company today. They're marketing. They're not much of a social media platform, because how many times have you posted something and your closest cousin says, oh, I didn't know that. And you're like, I posted it on Facebook this morning. Oh, I didn't even see that. I was on this morning. So there's no social, they're not that interested in connecting us that way. They're interested because they are $1 billion company. They are a publicly traded company. So they have responsibilities to their stockholders, and they have to get they have to make money, basically. Nobody's hating anybody for making money, but that's how they operate. So the fact that they've changed, it's just not as beneficial for us to be on it for just social purposes. It really is a marketing company, right? Now, moving into now it is a job. You can't get a teenager to do this anymore. I mean, maybe there are teenagers that do the job, because a lot of young people actually are really good at this. Would you consider talking about your web audio interface when you use USB? Well, right now I'm using USB. And I have my camera is a Logitech camera, very good camera. And I will talk about that as well, because I'm going to get into a section where I have to talk about the technology part of it, which isn't too complicated, because your phone can do most of everything. I'm on a really fast computer with a nice camera, but your phone has really good quality, especially if you have like those, iPhones that cost a lot of money that you stand online for 14 hours to get one. They do a tremendous amount of stuff, and they're powerful because they can do the film quality, the picture quality is really, really good. So we'll talk about that. Okay, so let me see where we are here. Okay, so let's talk about the apps for a second, right? Let's talk about and then I'm going to actually suggest some reading material, some books that I have that I've read that are fantastic. And we're going to go into a second part. At the end, we're going to talk about my successful actions that I've done, and what has helped me actually build an audience, and which my audience is just the tip of the. I mean, I can see now how to build an audience, whereas in the last year was sort of a struggle. I was kind of going in different directions, not really focusing on what I should have focused on, and I figured out a few things during COVID. I was home, so I decided to just dive into reading a lot and kind of studying and figuring out a few things. So, okay, so let's talk about these platforms, right? The most popular one being Facebook, right? Instagram, and then of course YouTube. So these platforms were the first guys in town, right? They're the first ones that set up shop. They opened up a platform for everybody. They had certain demands. Let's just say, demands might seem a little bit harsh, but when you signed up for any of these platforms, you gave away a lot of freedom, a lot of rights, right? So when you see them actually sometimes posting, I don't give Facebook or them the rights to use my material, whatever, they post it on Facebook, thinking that that's going to protect them in some way. Well, you've already signed off on a lot of things on these platforms. Now, granted, they do give you some privacies. They do give you some tools that you can actually adjust your privacy settings to make sure that only your friends of friends see it, and certain things like that. You can be opened. Also, you can have anybody be a public page. Like most of my pages are public because I want people to see them. But I have a few private pages for different, like the I Love Bayonne page is a page that I manage that's just for Bayonne, and it's a private page. You join the page. You answer a few questions, simple questions like, will you be nice to us? Will you talk about Bayonne? Will you, stuff like that, 3 questions. And then you get into the page, and it's a private group. And we post a lot of stuff that's happening in town there, right? But most of the pages I have open, public, because I want people to go to them, right? So Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, they have your information, right? They were in the business of collecting data. That was their business, collecting as much data as they possibly can from everyone. And Google, I didn't put Google up here, but Google is part of this whole as well, just to collect data so then they can sell you stuff, right? And that's the way it works, right? We are all customers of these platforms, and that's how they view us. Nothing wrong with that, right? They sell us out. You go online and you're talking to your friends about stiletto heels. I don't do that. I'm just saying some people do that. You talk about stiletto heels. Next thing you know, you go to one of your pages and you see a bunch of stiletto heels being offered to you, right? You talk about whatever, anything. I talk about a lot about music and guitars and stuff. I get a lot of guitar ads. I get a lot of political stuff because I talk a lot about political stuff. So I get political ads and stuff. So all these things are extremely, useful to these platforms, these in particular platforms here. They don't, I don't want to disrespect the platforms and say they don't care, but they are in this for the money. They are in this for a business. It's a business thing, right? So they don't really offer a lot of money basically to you. So let's just say you're a cook. Even if you're not a professional cook, but you love cooking and you're a really good cook and everybody loves your food, right? You are a cook or a chef or whatever you want to call yourself, right? Now you go on these platforms and you spend an hour on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever, and you give a recipe to an amazing thing and you take time, you edit it, and then you put it up there, and then you just hope for likes, right? You hope that it engages, you hope that it goes viral, you hope that people share it, and you hope and you hope and you hope, and it's basically based on what these platforms are going to give you. If the algorithms are right, if you paid a little bit of money, if you do this, these platforms are going to love you, right? But for organic reach, really, really tough right now, right? So, okay, you pay a little bit of money, right? But not enough. You got to pay a good amount now. Facebook is really getting up there in price. Instagram is right behind them. YouTube is YouTube. I don't know what YouTube has done in the last couple of years. They've changed things where it's really difficult for anybody to make money unless you have millions and millions of views of followers, and and views basically on each video. So, hey Anna, what's up? Hey, it's my niece. My niece knows a lot about the YouTube. She's on YouTube. She does amazing makeup, right? So you spend all this time doing this amazing makeup and doing all this stuff, and you put it on these platforms, and you hope that somebody's going to reach and it's going to give you work or hire you, in for actual long gig or even short gigs, right? So yeah, so Anna says YouTube, you need at least 1,000 to 4,000 watch hours, right? So that's a lot of hours to get, especially if you're just starting out, right? So a lot of these platforms have they're still great platforms for marketing. They're I don't want to say that they're not useful. They're just different, and they've kind of reached a level now of like the professional. They're corporations now. Before there were these cute apps that people were like, hey, I took a picture of my latte and look at this. It's no longer that. Now it's a little bit more serious, right? So as you can see how I put these two apps here in different places, right? I did that for a reason. These apps, wait, where am I? These apps, these apps over here, right? You get paid to stream on them. The company or an agency that you sign with actually pays you to stream and to provide content for these apps because they need people on these apps, right? Why do they need people on these apps? Well, the apps have a paying system. So, like, I'm going to give you an example. Bigo Live, that one down there. So, Bigo Live has a system of they call them I think they call them beans and diamonds, right? Let me get a drink here. When you talk a mile a minute and you're the only one talking, so you get beans, you get diamonds, you get gifts and stuff like that. And it's a worldwide app. It's just worldwide. I've been on Bigo now this is my 4th month on Bigo. I've been paid every single month that I've been on there. Decent. Surprisingly, you wouldn't think, but yeah, I go on, I play guitar, I talk about filmmaking, I talk about streaming, I talk about relationships, I talk about marriage, I talk about a lot about things, and people worldwide. I'm talking about I have fans in Canada, Australia. I have a nice group of people in the South, Wisconsin. It's just a nice group of people that are interested in content. And when they are interested in content, they will flow you some cash. Now, I signed with an agency for Bigo Live called Ivy Entertainment, and I signed with them, and they represent me on the app, right? Because I've done a lot of music stuff, and So they represented me on the app, and I auditioned and I did the whole thing. Very simple audition. Right now, what I'm doing right now would qualify for an audition. If you have an experience on a subject, you will qualify, right? So that's Bigo Live. Like is Likey. I'm sorry, Likey, which is on top. It's basically similar to Bigo Live. There are it's a little bit different where they have the system's a little bit different. It's almost the same, but let me see. Do you have people interact? Yes, constantly. I mean, constantly. They ask a lot of questions. There are people that come in from. I met someone from South Africa, and he had a lot of questions about guitar. So I was talking about the guitar and explaining to him and stuff. And if they really like your content and they like what you're saying and you provide them value, they will flow you something. They don't have to. Nobody has to do anything, right? But if you provide good content, that's what happens. So these two apps are similar. Twitch is it's been around for a little bit, and it was basically a gaming app. This is that purple thing up there is Twitch, right? They basically were a gaming app for a very long time. They've expanded now. If you go to Twitch, create an account, you will see people doing makeup, playing live music, doing gymnastics, dancing, cooking. A tremendous amount of people are cooking on there, doing art. Like my wife, she's got an art studio here, like doing art, just showing people how to do art and stuff. It is Twitch is like an amazing thing. Now I just got on Twitch, believe it or not. I've heard of it, but I always thought it was just a gaming app. So it turns out that they've expanded to almost anything that you can think of. And what I've noticed about Twitch is that they provide a platform where you can monetize your content yourself. You have like a little on the side, there's like a little, people will interact with you. YouTube has something like this too, except YouTube, it's harder for YouTube to get you out to the people. These platforms here, they send you out to the people. I did a live house for Bigo Live. Matter of fact, I have one tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, if anybody is not in the East. Eastern Standard Time at 3:30. And my first one that I did, I had my first two of them that I did, they're called live houses. They're basically 30-minute blocks where you get to perform to I performed almost 3,000 people, 3,000 views. And I got a tremendous amount of inflow from that, a tremendous amount of people that I met, people flowing me love, all that just from this. And I have another one tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. So Eastern Standard Time. And both of these apps do that. Now, Twitch has the same kind of thing. They don't have any real events where you, like a live house or anything, but they do have a platform where you can set up basically exactly what I'm doing right now. Right now, I'm on Twitch. Right now, this show right now is going directly live to Twitch right now. And so it's a wonderful platform. You have to dive into it. You have to dive into all these platforms. Now, here's the difference. Here's what I'm going to actually lay it down here, because I want to talk about what's the difference between, let me see, a little see, because my IG was deleted. So now I have to start all over. Oh, no. Why was it deleted? I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, with all these apps, it really is. What's up, Clay? My best friend, Clayton. With all these apps, you really are giving the app your stuff, right? Your business, right? So you want to actually protect yourself by either backing up all your content, backing up anything that you have that you're posting on there, photos and stuff like that. If you really want your photos, make sure you have them somewhere else. You can get one of those cloud things if you want. But that's really a important thing. So the difference between these platforms and these platforms is the control that you have over your content. When you put your stuff on these platforms here, they own your stuff, right? They own it, and you just hope that somebody sees it. And so somebody reported it. I would actually argue. I would actually call them up. I would actually think there's nothing on it that's inappropriate. They can't really do that unless there was something inappropriate. So I would actually call them up. You know, when you call a lot of these platforms here, they're big. They do have people that answer the phone and they do want to help you. They're actually not like a bad companies. They're but like I said, you give them all your content. They own it. If they don't like it, they will, you know, delete it, or they just won't show it. Right? They suppress a lot of stuff that they don't like. Right? It's the same thing with if you're trying to share something about about music or something, right? If I can't go on YouTube and talk about Led Zeppelin and play Led Zeppelin music and see how much I love it, right? Led Zeppelin, the company that owns Led Zeppelin's music, the catalog, they will squash it, right? They would be like, no, you got to take that video down, or they demonetize it, is what it's called, right? So if your video makes any kind of money, the money goes right to Led Zeppelin, right? And this happens with all these platforms. Now, these platforms here are completely different because they're open source. They're by open source, I don't mean like open where it's like a violation of security or anything like that. It isn't. But by open, I mean that you can actually go on there and I can play music. You know, I could play some music just on my here, and I say, oh, I really love this song. Now, I'm not promoting that this song is mine. I'm just in my house and I'm live streaming on that. So the way it's happened is that because these platforms here started at the beginning where people were abusing the system, so they had to create these regulations where they were not allowed to do that, right? And what ended up happening, and what is happening right now, is a lot of these great bands that actually have banned anyone from streaming or from even playing their music on a show, or from talking about the show. Rick Beato, who has a very popular YouTube channel where he does things called like what makes this song great. He does a series called What Makes This Song Great. Well, there's a lot of people that he went to like to give a what was it, when you go to court and you actually talk to the council, and he had to actually give and talk about why this is actually not okay. He's doing it for educational purposes. He's taking these great songs, right, and talking about them in a way that will give a younger viewer appreciation for that song, and they'll go out and get the music, right? What's happening is that a lot of these bands, these classic bands, are not being brought to the forefront because they're being so suppressed by these guys, because not by them necessarily, but by the record companies. And what happened early on, with Napster and LimeWire and all those kind of, I think it was called LimeWire. But like Napster, when it first came out, and the big major record companies were like, what? Wait, they're streaming what? No, hold on, stop. They freaked out, and that's what collapsed the music industry, right? So they have a reason to be afraid, those artists. But what ended up happening is that the music is being lost, and it's being lost because they're not playing it on the radio. Nobody listens to the radio as much as they used to in the past, and it's really falling into the hands of these people that are controlling all this money. Imagine Led Zeppelin. Imagine if I didn't have Led Zeppelin when I was 16 years old, 17 years old. I mean, I was like that when I first heard that Led Zeppelin, I was like blown away. I was like, oh my God, this is incredible, and I had the CD, or I had the record, no, I had the CD actually, it was a CD. And I had the CD and I played it for my cousin George, and we were like blown away. Who are these guys? Led Zeppelin, they were popular like in the 70s. Really? We should get all their music, That's what happened to us. That's not happening anymore. A lot of these bands now are going to be disappearing because the Grateful Dead, who I love, they're actually going to be gone because they are really strict. They don't even want you to play 1 second of any of their music, even on the guitar, even if you're playing. They will ban it, or they will demonetize you. They will delete your video, or demand YouTube to delete the video. And there are people that are out there. The Eagles, Don Henley also presented in court and said, and did not want any of his music ever played anywhere on social. This is one of the greatest bands of all time. They're going to disappear. they're going to disappear because everyone, all the young people are on these platforms, right? Eventually they're going to go to these, but right now they're here, right? And of course there's Snapchat, which I didn't really go into, and there's the TikTok, which I think got banned or something. The couple of other ones that are fairly powerful. Twitter, of course, I didn't put up here. Twitter is more of a app for listening and trending and seeing what's happening. It's really almost like a news app right now. But this is what's happening with these platforms. So the control that they have is so tight that you end up not, you get your content ends up getting lost and you can't monetize it. It's hard to monetize anything on these platforms unless you have $500, $600 a month, $1,000 a month to flow to each one of these to actually get your content out there. And that's a lot of money for somebody that's starting out, right? For anybody, any business is really, it's, if you want to spend $3,000 per each of these apps just to get your content out, it's a lot of money. Now there are companies that do package deals where they'll do it for you, but at the end of the day, social media and you presenting your product has to come from you. You're the one. This is why I tell artists all the time. I say you can't hire someone to do your social media. That makes no sense. You're the artist. Forget what happened in the 80s and the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. This is the new world. This is the way things are. You're in charge of your content. People are interested in the artist. They want to hear what the artist is doing, and that's how they learn about the artist, and that's what makes them want to follow the artist. The big giant budgets that these record companies had, where they would just flow marketing and put these guys on the radio everywhere, that's no longer there, unfortunately. So this is the difference. These apps here are a lot more loose. They're another thing is that their live content is live. When I go off, this is gone. It's not saved anywhere. I can't send it to people. I can make little video clips while I'm actually streaming. If I'm playing a guitar, or somebody can actually record me as well, and I'll have little tiny clips. But that's it. It's gone. Now I know people will say, "Well, is it really gone, or does somebody?" Well, maybe there's a guy named Miguel in a mountain somewhere in somewhere, and he's got all this knowledge, and he's got all. If he has all my Bigo lives, or he has my Likey lives, my Twitch lives, enjoy them. They were very fun. I hope you and your kids enjoy them all. But that's the way I think. So let me see. This is so cool. I'm definitely going to look into this. This is all new. Oh, really? Good, Anna. I'm glad you're having benefit from this. This is great. Thank you so much for telling me that. So okay, so now we're gonna go. So now you kind of have an idea of what the difference between these two guys are, right? Again, nothing wrong with these guys, right? This is new. This is live streaming only. This is pictures, videos, posts, sharing things. It's all to give them a control so you can stay on the platform longer, right? Because that's what they want. They don't want you. This is why YouTube and what am I pointing at here? YouTube and these two guys, or actually YouTube and Facebook. When you go on YouTube and you share to Facebook, nobody sees it. Have you noticed that? Go on YouTube, find a video that you like, and you hit the share. And when you hit share, you'll see. It'll be like, oh, I have to share it to Facebook, right? Go to Facebook. Tell me how many people actually saw your video that you shared from YouTube. Not many, because YouTube and Facebook are two different companies. They're owned by different people, and they don't want you to go from there to there. They want you to stay where you are. They don't want you to leave YouTube and go to Facebook. They don't want, Facebook doesn't want you to leave there and go to YouTube. Now these two, Instagram and Facebook, are owned by the same guy, right? Zuck. He owns both of these, right? So they don't really care. They actually, you can tie these up together, right? But this one right here, they don't. Twitter as well. It's very difficult to tie them all in because they're all different companies. They want you to stay on their platform. That's how they make money. Facebook makes money the longer you stay on. So if you're all sharing videos and sharing content and sharing pictures and everything, you're going to stay on the platform. That'll get them to sell you more stuff. You'll see more ads, and that's kind of how that works. This over here, you go live, you have an audience, you meet people, you follow them. It's kind of the same kind of concept, But when you're done, you're done. You can't go back to it. It's over. You're there the next day again. And if you get hired as a host, I'm an official host for Bigo Live and for Likey. If you actually are a host, you have an audience, right? And you build an audience and you talk to generally the same people, and then more people come in as I do live houses and if I do more events and stuff. That's how that works. So those are the difference between these two platforms. This is live streaming in 2020 and beyond. Very, very different. It's a completely different space. When you go to these platforms, you're going to be like, what is this craziness? I'm not getting on this thing. Are you nuts? Because it's very, very it's live streaming on steroids, but it's not hard. It's just that it looks different. We're so used to seeing this, the nice blue, our nice little pictures with our nice little thing. Don't forget the hashtags, all that stuff. Well, that's different. This is the same as this, except this is new. So please remember that when you go there and you check these apps out, that you're going to see, some of these apps, a lot of young, they're over 18, but young girls are there, and they're pretty girls, so they're dancing and nothing inappropriate, because Bigo Live in particular is extremely strict, which I kind of like. Because they put in ethics onto the people that are there. You can't drink on camera. You can't smoke on camera. You can't have children on camera. You can't curse too much. I know I've heard people curse here and there, but apparently you can't really curse a lot. You can't be inappropriate. You can't have like inappropriate dialogue. So you can't have sexual content. Basically, you can't say inappropriate things, sexual stuff. They actually so somebody's listening. The algorithms are picking up stuff, and they actually do. They are pretty strict on that, which I kind of like, because it makes the app clean. You can go there, you find people that are all of the same. They're interested in your content. I've met great musicians on there. As a matter of fact, a musician was the one that got me onto a Bigo Live, which is Joy Villa. She was on my show, on my last interview show. She's I don't have her book here, but she's got a new book out called Kick-Ass Conservative, and she's on tour right now, on the book tour, doing a bunch of stuff. And she was on my show, and then she told me about this app called Bigo, and I was like, oh, really? I was like, I'll check it out. So I went on there, and I was like, what is this insanity? It was like a streaming stroll, you just what's the word? Strolling? No, strolling? I forgot the word now. But anyway, I'm going through the app, scrolling scrolling through the app and stuff. And but then I found this one girl, and she was playing guitar and singing beautifully. So I was like, oh, okay. So I started seeing, and we interacted, and we got to know each other a little bit. And she, and I told her what I do, and she was like, oh, maybe you'd be interested in becoming a host, and then she introduced me to her agency, and her agency went in and looked at all my stuff and saw who I was, and they were like, oh, this is you. Yeah, you'll be perfect for this. So let's do an audition. And that's how that started. Same thing. And then I got onto this one as well. Same kind of fashion, or actually because of Bigo Live, I got on that one. So different, not bad, actually great. These are great if you have money, and if you want to keep up with your like, I have a lot of nieces and nephews. My niece is right here right now, and I like to keep up with them, see what they're doing, see how their kids are, because she lives in Florida, I live in New Jersey, so it's really difficult to get together and stuff. But here I get to see their kids grow up. She gets to see my kids grow up, and that to me is a beautiful thing. So these are very valuable for those kind of things. Now, if you want to think of fly, Mike Pence. So if you want to actually get have money, and you want to actually invest in this, then this is definitely what you want to put your money into, right? These are great platforms, and they're still very valuable. You just need to know how to set up a proper ad, and that's a whole other story. I won't even go into all that stuff, but you have to know what you're doing on these apps in order to get it. This, you create an account, you go live, you meet people, people that are interested in what you do. You don't have to follow anybody that doesn't do what you like. I have a lot of musician friends, a lot of actor friends, and that's who I've met on these platforms. Let me take a breather. All right. So basically, those are the two apps, right? And not the two apps. Those are the two sides of it. Now, there's others. There's others of these, by the way. These are I only put these three because I'm on these three and I'm familiar with these three. But there's others, and I'm sure more are coming right now, and some of them are going to do really well. But we have to remember that there are billions of people on the planet, right? And billions of people are going to have more and more technology in the future, right? A lot more technology is going to be developed, whether you like it or not, right? This whole 5G controversy thing that's going on, it's going to create a cell phone that's going to be able to work in remote parts of the world where they didn't work before, and this is coming at a rapid rate. And it's going to give opportunities to someone in really really far away in a small village in Africa, or somewhere in anywhere in the world that's like in Amazon in a it's going to be they're going to have the opportunity to actually go live. And so it's going to really open up the world, and it's going to be a beautiful thing. I sincerely believe that. So those are the two things. So let's talk a little bit about what I was talking about earlier. We've gone 42 minutes I've gone on this. I was wondering, I was like, am I going to have enough to talk about? I don't know. I hope I have enough to talk about. I always think that, and then I don't shut up. Okay, so let's move on to what I've done in the past, right? And I've had success in the sense that I learned a lot about this, enough that I've been paid to teach social media, to talk about social media, to do campaigns. I did a political campaign for a candidate, which we smashed anyone that came. No one came close. You know what I mean? Like, it was like literally no one came close. And I can do that. I have the ability to take a client, or especially a political person or somebody that has a positive message, and we can just really create a good campaign for them. And that came through experience, and that came through mistakes, and doing a lot of dumb things, and doing some webinars, good ones and bad ones. And that's where when I realized that this was actually something that I should be focusing a little bit more on, then it came down to planning and trying to come up with when I was going to do this, when I was going to find the time to do this. Those kind of things can be very stressful because, I have 2 kids. My wife's a teacher. Now with COVID, she's teaching at home. So she basically has her screen with all the kids on it. And so while I watch my daughter homeschools, so I have to do her homeschool in the morning. And then I have to take her on 3 days a week. I have to take her, drop her off 2 days a week to somewhere for homeschooling with a parent that she does it with her daughter and stuff. And they're there. Then on Fridays, I go and tomorrow morning, I'll be at the church over here where the Classical Conversations is the name of the program that we use. It's a Christian program, which is really amazing program that we're so lucky that we're in. So we bring our daughter there, and I stay there all day. I'm there in the church. I'm helping. I try to help as much as I can. They have tutors there, and the kids play, and we watch over them and stuff. We talk, and we kind of set up events and stuff. And I'm there to about 3:00, basically, right? And so that's my days, not to mention the fact that I'm also a musician. I'm kind of back into music again after being away for 14 years. I'm back again playing, and I have I'm playing with somebody right now, and we've worked on 16 songs so far. We have it's very exciting, and being in the studio again and playing again, so that's another element. I'm also a filmmaker, so I'm editing a film right now, and I have 2 other ones that I'm going to edit. So all these things, not to mention trying to spend some time with my wife, because you don't want to stray. So, spending time with my wife and spending time with friends, and trying to, clean the house. I mean, everything has to be scheduled. Everything has to be on point. You have to have energy. So here's what I'm going to talk about now. And this is why, these are some of the things that I do. And I'm going to go down the list here. There's 10 of them, and this is actually 15 minutes. I might go over an hour, so I apologize to anyone. Maybe if anybody wants, I can edit this for them and just take out some of my silliness. All right, so let's talk about my actions for success. Okay, so in 2013, I hit a crossroads in my life, and that crossroads came about working at a health club, the last health club that I worked for. I had been working at health clubs for about 18 years. And this one particular club was pretty outrageous. They had really bad systems. And, it was just not a good place to be. So I gave notice and I quit. I came home and I spoke to my wife and, we talked about it. I was like, no, I can't be there. I'm going to freaking die of cancer. I just can't do it. I just can't be miserable. Remember, when you're stressed, man, your body just starts giving out. Your body starts giving up. And you have to really figure out what is it that's making you stressed out. And of course, I have my religion, which I'm really grateful for, and I've got a lot of help with them. But there was still some changes that I had to make, and those changes were the most difficult changes that I've ever had to make in my entire life. And I'm really grateful that I did. So, number one on my successful action that I sat down in 2013, right? Back up a second. I sat down in 2013. I started writing. What is it that I've done that actually worked? And what have I done that didn't work? Right. And I just kind of sat down and started writing, and I came up with 10. Now I know 10 sounds like so obvious, like, 10, like the, 10 commandments, the top 10 dress, the 10 best films, the 10 best actors, everything's 10, right? Well, it came up to 10. I don't know. I can't explain it, but I tried to squeeze some things together, but it came up to 10, and that's what it is. And if it'll come up to 11 eventually, I don't really care. I would have loved 11, but I would have loved 9, but it came up to 10. So the first one is one of the hardest ones for me, which was, if you're unhappy with your current situation, change it. Something can be done about it. So I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what it was that I wanted to do with my life. Pretty much I knew that I was a musician. I knew that I love music. I love films. I love art. And I was putting myself into situations that I just kept continually made me miserable. And the most important thing is, if you're in a situation right now that's stressful, anything that comes afterwards ain't gonna work. I'm sorry. I hate to break that to you. Okay. I want to be positive, but if you are in a situation right now that's just stressing you out, if you don't do something about that, especially if it's a household thing, or maybe it's a job, or maybe it's a physical thing that you're not taking responsibility for, whatever it is, if you do not take responsibility for that, it does not get better. Time does not heal all wounds. That is a myth, my friends. It does not. The wound is there. You might have actually forgotten about it a little bit, or you might have been distracted by more stress. So that one's not even coming up anymore. But trust me, it is there, and it is not going away. And it makes everything afterwards extremely tough. Okay. So that's number one. Number two, don't hate anyone for their successful. I'll give you that again. Don't hate anyone for their success. Oh, I wrote that wrong. I apologize. Don't hate anyone for their success, even if the work isn't your cup of tea. I wrote these last night, like 12 a.m. So I've seen this a lot. I've seen this from all types of people, and a lot of artists will see someone have success and be like, oh my God, I can't believe it. He sucks. I'm way better than him. And right there, boom, you've lost. You've lost. If that's your attitude, I cannot even begin to start hating someone for their success. That to me is not in my DNA. I hear people that get work. I shot a film a couple years ago, and this girl told me she got 3 jobs from just being in my film. I was like, oh my God, that is amazing. I was like, congratulations, you deserved it. She did a great performance in the film. So to me, that's like, how can you not? I mean, we're all human beings here we should be rooting for one another, right? So that to me is one of the actions that I know that, um, you know, I I've always kind of had that in me, but I think when you're in music, you want to play good. So if somebody else is playing better than you, you just practice more, right? You just practice more. Don't hate that guy. Get your act together and start practicing more. Start putting in more hours. Do your 10,000, as they say, right? All right, number 3. Surround yourself with people that will motivate and inspire you, and always motivate and inspire others. Those that don't find value in what you're doing don't matter. So don't pay any attention to them. They will go away eventually when they realize they can't win. So this is a incredibly important one, because they say you are the 5 people that are, whatever the expression is, you are the 5 people closest to you, whatever. If you're walking around and you got people around you that are doo-doo, then you're doo-doo, basically. You know what I mean? So you have to really find those people and find those groups, and then write down, and I've done this, write down what are your ideals, your ideal group. What is your ideal friend? What is somebody that has, that would provide value for you and that you can provide value to? Relationships and friendships are a two-way thing, right? You can't just be going to somebody because you need them, but they don't feel like they need you. That's not really a friendship, right? That's more of a, that's whatever they call it, codependent or something, as the expression is. But that's really just lack of self-confidence and lack of self-esteem, right? um so you have to find people that are around you. Now, this unfortunately can go for family. You know what I mean? It's true. You know what I mean? If you have, I was blessed. I was blessed by having grandparents that took good care of me and cared about me. I was blessed by having a mom that was awesome and always supported my craziness, my humor, my music. She would come to my shows. She would come to my gigs. My mom would be sitting at one of my at a dingy club in like downtown in the village somewhere. She'd be sitting there and with like a water. And this is the trend. So I was blessed. So I can't really speak from that knowingness, because I don't know what that must be like. But I do know people who have had stress, parents, or that have really stressed them out growing up. And unfortunately, the only way to really resolve that is to handle it with them, or to kind of just leave, disconnect from them, right? There is no, well, maybe eventually they'll come around. They're not going to come around. You're just going to, they're down here. They're trying to bring you down here. You're up here because you want to, you want to kick ass. You want to take over the world, right? And they're like, well, yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to do that, but, and then you're, yeah, but mom, I swear, I think I can. Well, I don't know, honey. It's kind of hard out there. It's kind of tough, and eventually, well, and eventually you're both right there, and then you game over, right? So please, please, please look at your environment, see who's around there, see who, when you see coming into the room, who makes you feel good and who you're kind of like, oh, and you may not even know you're doing it. You may not even know somebody walks in and you're like, ooh, I got a pain right here. What is this? Is this a tumor? It's not a tumor, right? All right. So number 4, don't be afraid to promote your work, and do it often. If you believe in what you're doing, that will communicate to others. Remember, this is show business, so showing your business is part of the game. Can you name that famous person that never promoted anything? Me neither. So this is something that at the beginning of social media, I took a little bit of a flack for, because I was posting a lot, and I had people telling me, you post way too much. I think I had somebody tell me I had to delete you because you posted too much. And I was like, well, you're not my customer. You're not my person. If I'm posting too much and it bothers you, then you should leave, right? That's the sensible thing to do. That is a rational thing to do, right? Which is fine. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to give up the way I'm operating, especially if it's working and I'm actually meeting more people and my numbers are looking good. So you have to get out there and you have to promote yourself, and you have to do it often. And you have to like not be apologetic about doing it, because you're a valuable being. You're out there with it, with content that people need. People need help. People need to be motivated. And every single person on the planet has something that they can help someone else with, right? They just do. And I'm gonna talk about these 4 books real quickly towards the end. But yes, that is actually, you know what? I'll talk about that one now. Actually, no, I won't. Notice how organized I am. All right, so that was number 4. Number 5. If you're having problems or feel stuck, ask someone you trust for some help or advice, but never ask someone to hire you because you have a relationship with them. And always make yourself available to help someone. So this has a couple of different parts to it, and the reason I put it together is because it's just based around help. We have a thing about help, right? Like some people, some people feel like they don't get any help, right? I don't get, nobody helps me. I'm always by myself. Nobody helps me, right? There's that guy or girl. And then there's the people who goes, I love helping people. I'm always loving to help people. I got no money and no shoes, but all I want to do is help people, right? And then there's the person that just decides to do something. That guy right there knows about it, but he's not going to ask him for help because he's got a little bit of a pride issue. I'm not going to ask for help. It's okay. I'm just going to do it. And that, my friends, will destroy you, because not only is it going to take you much longer for you to get anything done, it's going to actually, you're going to then create things that are wrong. And then you're going to waste more time. And then because they're wrong, you're going to be frustrated. And because they're frustrated, you might not continue, and then you'll give up and you'll quit. And then, right? And that's it. Do not be afraid to ask someone for help. I tell people all the time, I have some information in my head, right? As you can see from some of the stuff I talked about today, I have some information. I am totally 100% willing to give this information to anyone that asks me, can you help me do this? I will find the time, right? Because I can't stop everything right now, but I'll find the time, sit down with someone, bring a pen and paper, is what I always tell people, because I'm not repeating myself, and I'll give them all the information that they need, and then I send them off. And some of them do great. Some of them, they don't do anything, right? Doesn't matter to me. I want to give them the information. I want to give them the opportunity, right? So asking for help is important. Me, I ask for help all the time. All the time I ask for help. It doesn't matter who. I'll message somebody, hey, when you were the editing stuff, hey, when you're editing, what editing software do you use? Hey, when you're doing this kind, what do you do? What camera do you use for this? What do you think is the best thing? I'll ask somebody, you know what I mean? And I'm not wanting to, I can go on YouTube or I can research something, which I do a lot of the times also. But if somebody's already doing it and they're there and they're friends of mine and I feel like comfortable enough to ask them, I will ask. Sometimes I ask people that I don't feel comfortable, I don't really know that well. And you know what? 99.9999% of the time, they want to help me too. It's very important. The word help goes both ways. It's you want to help people, and you want to ask for help if you need it. Extremely important. All right. What number was that? Was that oh, that's that. Okay. Number 6. Take time every day to do some personal enhancement. It can be a new course, read a book on your art or life, a seminar, learn something new every day. So this is extremely important as well. We are living in a very fast time. Things are moving super fast right now. Everyone is writing books. Not all of them are good. Some of them are great, right? Who has time to sit down and read a whole book? I do. I find time, but who really does have time to do that? It's really difficult, right? You can go to a webinar. You can go to whatever the actual personal development is that will help you. It has to be something that is going to give you enough value that you can go out and give others value based off of it, right? That's what the tools are. That's what all these books are. That's what all this stuff that I did was so I can actually be a better person and know a little bit more in my head so I can help other people, right? That's the main purpose for all this. Okay, let's move on because I know we just hit an hour. Una hora. All right. Find a solid platform for life that works for you and that you're willing to die for. It can be a religion, a faith, a belief, or a philosophy of life that gives you tools to improve your conditions and help you reach your goals. So this is very, very important. I'm very spiritual person. I'm very kind of a religious person. Um, that's what I use. I do a lot of courses from my church. I'm right now we're doing them at home, obviously, and I turn my lessons in. Not all the times. If Clayton's watching, I apologize, but I turn my lessons in, and that to me gives me a tremendous amount of personal development, and it helps me. You know, some people have yoga, right? They want to do yoga and they love yoga. Some people do meditation. Some people do. Some people just are very uh, um, I mean, there's so many different things. They're just a philosophy, Some people just read a lot of books on philosophies, or some people, do astrology. I don't know much about any of those that I mentioned, but I know a lot of people that do them. And if the key thing is, are you better because of them? Are you better? Do you feel better this year than last year because of that personal development? That is the only thing that you should ask yourself when doing something to give you a personal development. Are you feeling better? That's it. Number 8, be true and honest to your partner. Get them on your side and helping you achieve your success. At the same time, help reach their goals too. You should never have to convince your partner to help you succeed. So this is a really big one, right? Because goes into the relationship and couples relationship, right? So my wife and I, we've been together for 17 and a half years, right? 19 years, really, 2 years, and then we got married, right? Ups and downs, a lot of ups and downs, as a lot of marriages do. We have our personal development through our religion that has helped us handle certain things that have come up through very rational, analytical thinking. And that has been a saving grace, because in the beginning of our marriage, I was a musician. I'm still a musician, but I mean, I was playing and I had a group, and some things happened in the group which ended the group. And that was a very traumatic thing for me. We lost a member, actually. He passed away tragically, and one of our closest friends, one of the greatest guys I've ever met, and we lost him. And it has ended this beautiful thing that we were creating. Now, there wasn't a lot of reality in my marriage for what I wanted to do. I didn't even know what I wanted to do sometimes. It's like sometimes you get confused, especially an artist. A lot of artists have this, it's just like they want to do stuff, but sometimes you get in your own way, and you have to try to figure out, and you got to work your way through. And again, luckily I had the religion that really helped me. But you have to really be there for your partner, and they have to really understand what it is that you're doing, and they can't really judge what you're doing based on money. They can't judge based on time. They have to judge it based on your happiness. Are you happy? Because at the end of the day, when those things are in place, the money, the time will all come back. And one of the things that I'm extremely, extremely happy about is that in my marriage, during COVID, believe it or not, I've always been encouraging my wife, who's an artist. She's always been an artist, but she was a little bit discouraged when she was younger. In the family, I'm not going to go into the whole that whole thing, but she wasn't encouraged to be an artist, and that can be really damaging on a child or on anyone, really. Um, and I've always known she had this talent. So I pushed her and I pushed her, and finally, at the beginning of this whole thing, we were like, "Look, we're home. You know what I mean? We're home now. You're still working. I got stuff coming in. Why don't you just start painting?" And she did. She bought some, we took a dining room. It's her art studio. I have the living room. Right now I'm in her space, actually. And we have this beautiful thing going right now. And she just started painting these beautiful things, like literally off the bat, like boom, day one. It was like, whoa, you did that today? She's like, yeah, and I was, Jesus, it was unbelievable. I was so proud of her. And we took it a step further. We started her business. She signed up with a company called Art Storefront, which is basically a marketing firm that helps artists sell their art. She's been working with them. That was a big investment to go in with them. She bought art supplies. She she's started her Facebook page or Instagram, and I've been helping her. I helped her with a lot of the technical stuff behind the scenes that she wasn't sure about, but she really picked it up very, really quickly, and she's doing it all on her own right now. This is a tremendous thing for me because as soon as this happened, things started happening to me. I got on Bigo Live. I got on all the other platforms. I started making money through them. I started doing other things to make cash. It just started pulling things in. It started pulling things in because we were both now finally on the same page and really going in one direction, and that was important. So that's really, really important aspect that I took a little bit longer on that because I think that's very important. There's a lot of people out there that may not be supporting their artistic significant other. Stop that. Okay, if you don't understand it, find out about it, read about it. Why are artists the way they are? You know what I mean? We don't have a choice. We were born wanting to create beautiful things and trying to put betterment into the world. There's nothing wrong with that. Find out about it. If you're not supporting them, and if it's you and you're the artist, then stand up for yourself and say, listen, this has got to happen. I cannot not do this. It's you just cannot not do it. Cannot not do it. Feel free to use that. So it's very important. So thank you all very much for listening to that one. All right, number 9. We're almost done. We're at the end. Okay, so people a lot say they don't have time. So it says use your time wisely. We have 168 hours in 1 week. After we sleep, eat, commute, we are left with anywhere between 50 and 70 hours. Now, of course, this depends on your job and what you work and how long you travel. With that time, you need to spend time with the family and work on your goals. It's plenty of time. If you're working more hours or you feel it's not enough time, then please refer back to number 1 on this list, which is, of course, which is this, right? If you're unhappy with your current situation, change it. Something can be done about it. But this one right here is very important because it goes into a time thing. You have to realize that we don't have a choice, right? This is the time that you have, right? You have 168 hours in a 7-day period, right? 1 week. That's what you have. Doesn't matter if you hate your job. It doesn't matter if your spouse is not supporting you. It doesn't matter if your commute is too long. It doesn't matter. That is the time that you have, and we all have the same exact time in one week. So what are you going to do about it to make sure that you can fit in something like this? What if you decide you want to stream? Well, here's a couple of things that you can do. And this is what I did. I sat down with my wife and even with my oldest daughter who understands. She's 9 years old. My son still is still a challenge. But I sat down and I said, look, I think I'm going to start streaming on this app. I might even become a host if I get an audition. What can you do to help me on that? And we sat down and we worked out hours. I have my hours. So then I started the JHS interviews show, right? And I said, okay, so from this time, this is what I'm doing. I need everyone to exit, go to sleep. It's already late. It's 9:30. That's why I chose 9:30 because it's bedtime. Everyone goes to sleep, and I can get the show done. So I organized the life around me by communicating what my intentions are and what my goals are and why I think this is an important thing and why I think this is be actually good for the family. So I started by communicating that. If you just think that you're going to start doing this and this in some cases, right, and your business, all those things, and just do it with the time that you have or the abilities that you just your natural abilities that you have, it may not happen. Just So I have somebody here writing something. Okay, that's a spam thing, I think. In search of followers, prime reviews, come on bigfollows.com. All right, well, you know what? Somebody sent me this. I don't know if it's any good. That doesn't look like a real, never mind. Don't go there, folks. That doesn't look like a legitimate site. But anyway, so make sure that you get everybody on board on what your goals are. That is so important. I mean, it has to do a little bit with number 8 with your spouse, but you have to schedule these times, and you have to say to yourself, okay, how much sleep do I really need? Start with that. What do I need? I know I can function for a full day. Like right now, I'm on 6.5 hours of sleep. That's what I slept last night. 6.5 hours of sleep for me, fine, no issues. I'm not tired. 5 hours, I'm a little tired. 4 hours, I can't do. Right? I can't do 4 hours. But 6.5 hours, 7 hours, I'm good to go. So I know when I go to bed at a certain time, I know when I'm going to get up, unless I have an appointment or something, but I know when I'm going to get up, and I know that starts my day. Then I have one of these. Well, I have two things. Right? I have my book, which I write all my battle plans in, but then I have this is called my prosperity planner, and in here is the actual days. Now I know this is old school, but the reason I do this is because I like the fact that it's physical, it's down, and it has things that you can really just. So I'll write down like what I'm doing for the day, and if anything else comes up, and I just put the date on it. So like, let's say somebody says, hey, can you come on the 15th over here? I put this on, I go to the 15th, and I write down on the 15th, and I put it down. Then every day when I go to my desk, I just open it and I look at it and see what's happening. Now I know you have your phone. You don't have to use this. You don't have to use anything. Use your phone. Have your phone prompt you. Okay, it's you get up at, let's say you get up at 7 a.m. right? 7 a.m. You make breakfast. 7:30 you're done. You're gonna shower. 8 o'clock you're done. You're dressed and ready. Okay, at 8:15 I'm gonna spend 20 minutes on this app. Then I'm gonna spend another 10 minutes on this app, and I'm gonna do a YouTube video, right? And be set up to do all those things, right? So that's really an important thing, because you don't have a lot of downtime, especially if you have kids. You should not have a lot of downtime. Now you should write in downtime. You should say, okay, Friday night we're gonna watch a movie. That is your downtime. Schedule it. And now I know some people say like, oh, that's so much. I don't like to live my life that way. I like to, well, then you're not doing any of this, right? This is not for you then, which is fine. It's not for everybody, right? Some people don't want to spend the time to build this. Some people, it's a lot of work, but it's not really a lot of work. It's just, you just have to do it, right? And that's where people they think it's a lot of work, but it's really not a lot of work. All right, so let's go on to the next one and the last one. So, I mean, just to reiterate, time management has been around, right, since the beginning of time. Figure out the time. If you need any help with that, I've sat with people and I've just asked them what they do during the day, and I find always 15 to 20 hours a week, that they're basically not doing much. They think they're doing stuff, but I'm like, you can fit it in right in here. But it's only 45 minutes. 45 minutes of doing one thing is actually really good. You know what I mean? So please take those 45 minutes right here while you're doing this to do that. So it's very, very important. So you can always reach out to me for that. All right. The last one, very important. Take care of yourself. Eat foods that will give you energy and good quality, and take good quality supplements if needed. You need to be able to control the body at will and make it do things. Sometimes you might be tired and want to veg out, as some say, but the only goal a vegetable has is to be cut up in a salad, then devoured. Don't be devoured. Move. Okay? Move. It's important to take care of our bodies, because our bodies are the only way we can get around to do things, right? If you're really consuming poor quality foods, or just not, or not taking enough, or not drinking enough water, I mean, I tell people, then just drink water. You'd be surprised how that changes your whole mindset. We are water. If you're not drinking water, your blood is clogging up. I'm not a doctor, but go to a doctor and check your blood pressure and see what that's like. You know what I mean? Please, please, please take care of yourselves. If you're not taking care of yourselves, it's very difficult for you to have the energy, not just physically, but mentally, to go out and do any of these things. You have to be able to take care of yourself, and you have to know what to do. So go to a doctor, go to a dietitian. So much stuff is on the internet on what to eat, right? I mean, we've been doing this for 20 years on the internet now of supplements and what we should be eating. We all know what we should not be eating, and we all know what we should be eating. Make the decision, help yourself on that. So this way you're able to function and not feel so drained. And you know what happens also? You start forgetting things. You don't take things, you forget, and you're just like, yeah, no, I got to do that. I know, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it next week. Maybe that's a little extreme, but that's kind of what happens, and that is part of the body that's just not getting the proper nutrients to make proper decisions. It's just what happens. All right, real quickly now, because I've gone really long here. If you're still watching, God bless you. All right, let's go on to. I'm not going to talk a lot about these books. I'm just going to talk about the first one, the first two, and then the other ones I just give. All right, so this is called Expert Secrets. This is by Russell Brunson. He's the creator of ClickFunnels, which is a software that I used to use. I don't use it anymore. I used it for 3 years. It's a great software. I just started using something that I didn't have to dive into as much. It was much simpler. I didn't have to get that extreme anymore. But he wrote this book, and this is a great book. This book is called Expert Secrets, and it basically shows you how to take whatever it is that you're expert in. And everybody's an expert at something. If you know how to make really great scrambled eggs, you're an expert at that. So there's a lot of things that you can find in that. How to take that and make it into a profitable business and make it valuable for others and provide value. Great book. Get it. I think it's free also. If you go over there, I think you only pay the shipping, which is like $6 or something. All right. Second book is Life After Google. Now, George Gilder is a legendary tech genius. He's actually predicted. He's a tech, what do they call it? Like a futurist, they call him, right? He's predicted like some incredible things in technology. Like he predicted, he talked about, in the future, that people are going to be television. He wrote a book called Life After Television, where he talked about people are going to be streaming things on their computers, and television is not going to be as popular. Netflix and so on, right? Amazon Prime and all those other ones, right? So, and he also predicted in the future we're going to have a device that's going to be able to go with you everywhere. You're going to be able to get all your messages. You're going to be able to get maps on it, news, everything right on it. 14 years before Steve Jobs created the iPhone. So this book is Life After Google, where he talks about these guys here, including Google, obviously, and what's happening with them and how things are going to change drastically in the next couple of years. This is a must read if you want to know, if you want to be in the know for the next, literally for the next 30 years. If you got to read this book, and it's pretty funny too. All right, of course, I don't know, Grant Cardone, you got to read the 10X rule. Just great information here, great knowledge. Just great stuff also on the fact that do something today and 10X it. You know what I mean? So it's like the 10X, there is a rule to this, and he has it all laid out in here. And it's sort of thinking like, how can I, like right now I have a certain amount of audience. Well, next year I want to 10X it. I want to have this many audience 10 times more, right? That's the purpose of this. And that's how you operate everything. And that's how the 10X rule works. And of course, Mr. Gary Vaynerchuk. This book is cool, right? It's kind of like greenish, so it's kind of getting into my green screen. So, of course, Gary Vaynerchuk, crushing it. This is a must read for anybody that wants to know anything about how to operate on these guys today, and even these guys. This is actually just a book that everybody should read. Crushing It by Gary V. Woo, baby. Listen, if you're still here, God bless you. Thank you very much. So, all right. Final thoughts on all this is that we're all extremely valuable beings who have so much to offer to others. And if you're an architect, if you're a real estate agent, if you work, if you work in a fast food place, if you work in a restaurant, if you work at a bank, it does all of it. there is a tremendous value in you live streaming, because your life is unique to you, and your life can provide value to someone else because they may see something in you that they would like, and that is where your value lies. And that's why live streaming is so important, and that's why it's taken off. People who don't understand it have not really been paying attention or going on it and seeing who's out there, because you'll find someone that's doing something. I've learned so much from people that I've just on all these platforms, that I just go there and I go, oh wow, I didn't know you can do that. That's so interesting. And I'll go and I learn something. Very, very important to remember that you are valuable, but you're only as valuable as you believe that you're valuable, so you have to really find it in yourself to lift up and to find that self-determinism, and to really pull yourself up and say, like, what, yeah, I can do this. I can talk about all these things. It could be anything too. I mean, if you're really interested in like comic books, if you're interested in Marvel movies, if you're interested in Shopkins, I see the Shopkins now, some of them are valuable. Beanie Babies, all those things. If you're whatever your interest is, there is an audience out there waiting for you to contribute to it and to help them find their way as well. So that's my show for the night. Thank you everybody for tuning in. An hour and 21 minutes. Thank you so much if you hung out here. I appreciate you all. And please, please, please share this if someone's interested in streaming and you think, hey, you know what? Maybe this person, they talk about it, but they never do it. Here are some tools. And then have them reach out to me. I will be more than happy to sit with them, or just live stream, or not live stream, but do a Zoom call with them and help them kind of get going. I got to fix my green screen. Look how this looks down here. I don't know. I just don't have enough lighting in this area. Anyway, my problems, right? All right, folks. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening. God bless. I'll see you all on Monday night. Take care. And as always, hold on. Bear with me. It's coming. Peace.